not to record.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the F.T.C podcast. Today, we're going to talk about music, and we are definitely going to get into some of our personal favorites, as well as dictating the difference between today's genre of music and what we grew up with and years in the past. Today on the panel, we have V, we have Chuck, Champ, and Brother George. I'm your host today, Jai Bell, and let's go ahead and get it started. I know this is a topic that we can all definitely address and have some good insight in on today's conversation. We know the main person we want to talk about is Chuck's boo, formerly known as V's boo. Sexy Red. Being from St. Louis, we have a very, very great heritage of music in St. Louis. A lot of people, don't like to give us props where credit is due, but we definitely have a lot of artists that come out of St. Louis that have done big things. Sexy Red is in the spotlight now, and she's going to be our main topic, but not the only performer we're going to talk about today. So, since he is your boo, Chuck, I'm going to go ahead and start off with you. Given today's topic of music, and Sexy Red being the most the St. Louis person that we're going to talk about today, what's your view on her music, and how do you feel about her music?
Hey man, y'all gotta stop hating on old Sexy Red. Do you not hear this? Let's let her talk to you.
Can't hear it.
She making hits with Aubrey.
Thank God we can't hear it.
You can't hear me? Oh, I turned it off. No worries, no worries. So yeah, think about it though. Either she an industry plant or these young folks feeling her music. Just like y'all cats, y'all mama didn't like the dude who just died the other day. They ain't nobody. That's just my baby daddy. That shit's trash. But that shit was popping in these streets. So let Sexy Red cook. She got 3 songs. She about 2 more songs away, y'all. I'm telling y'all.
2 songs away from what?
2 songs away from me fully claiming her. No. But for real though, these young kids, they gravitate to that music though. Pound Town from my ears is terrible. Ski Wee, also terrible. I can't lie though. This Rich Baby Daddy hook, that shit catchy as a mud. I can't lie. But it's just like if our parents listened to our music in between 90, 95 to 2000, they probably tell you all that shit trash also. So, I'm listening as an adult, all this shit trash to me also. So, but then we want to come in and say, oh, our stuff a lot more fly. They was talking about something. Well, she talking about something. She talking about letting her coochie breathe. Out there have a drink and pop it for her. Here I go, G. Okay. I said I was gonna defend her. I'm here, baby.
I mean, you definitely defending the coochie pink and booty hole brown type genre. Yeah, I think the music is trash. But I'm glad you did touch on music when we were coming up as young men, 90s, early 2000s music. Yeah, I know for a fact my father thought that music was definitely trash. I remember he used to monitor whenever me and my brother would buy albums. If it had parental advisory, he would throw them shits away.
Oh, really?
Dead serious. He would throw them away and like, this is not what I give you all money for, to buy this kind of music and mess you all's minds up. I'm like, well, it's not messing our minds up. This is what we like to listen to. Just because I like to listen to it doesn't mean I want to portray what's in the music. And that's why today's topic is called music or miseducation. Some people can say that the music actually, gravitates them. Yeah, that's one thing. But are you actually influenced by the music? So, Champ, I'm going to run to you. Based on what you're seeing out there, is today's music just more gravitating, or is it just because are people actually trying to influence by the music?
I think it's pushed and isolated. When Chuck mentioned that's just my baby daddy, that was a novelty song at best back when we were coming up. It wasn't dominating the airwaves. I don't think him or any of his people in the group was on the football field hugging the owner of the New York Jets. I think there's a concerted effort to push her exposure to the point to where it's kind of hard to say are kids gravitating towards it, or they just only being left with those, those examples of music to deal with. I'm pretty sure that, there are young women and young men who haven't stopped learning how to write poetry, who know how to write with sense, who know how to play instruments. So it's kind of, eye-opening when she's at the forefront of what's considered hot right now. So I don't think it's that kids are gravitating towards her. I think she's being placed in front of the kids to listen to.
Okay, and based upon the options that's out there, I mean, in today's hip hop music, is not really a whole lot of options, in my personal opinion. As far as good music, I mean, we got Kendrick Lamar, we got J. Cole, to name a few. But in regards to female artists, who's really out there that's really good, that has a good positive influence on our children?
Well, when you say out there, I think that's kind of using the old model. We all have streaming services that we use. The catalogs are open all the way up, so you don't necessarily have to be, married to the idea that you got to like somebody that's out now. Go and listen to some of the classics. Go and listen, introduce yourself to, some of the things that allow music to get to where it is right now, and get more familiar with the foundation, and then you'll find yourself finding rap artists that are kind of off the beaten path, but they kind of flow with the vibe you kind of used to, and the lyrics you used to, and the message you're used to. So you just gotta be committed to what you want to listen to. I don't think that you have to necessarily be married to what's quote unquote out there.
You telling me I gotta listen to Rhapsody instead of letting my other boo Gorilla cook?
You can. I'm just not you can.
No, you can't.
Now, no, you all have daughters, and you too, George. You all have daughters.
Yeah.
Did they walk around the house listening to this type of music when you all just like, man, shut that trash up?
So I don't say that. It's different, right? So women MCs has been the least saturated over the time of hip hop, right? Hip hop just turned 50 years old this year, right? So kudos to hip hop.
Sure.
But for us, when we were growing up, we had at least 20 on any given Tuesday. We had at least 20 new drops that was coming out, at least, whether they were local, whether they were regional, whether they were national. Right? We would go to the record store. We would go see what was playing. Blah 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 blah. Women didn't really have that type of option. The biggest option that they had was like listening to Salt and Pepper, listening to Nikki D, listening to MC Lyte, listening to Queen Latifah, and then it started to grow with Yo-Yo, the East Coast and stuff like that. But they always been in the minority, right? So thinking about how we grew up and some of the stuff that we thought was trash on the male side, or our parents, and let me go back to what Chuck said. So our parents used to have this whole beef with hip hop. They called it bebop, this da 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 da. But it wasn't to the extent of this. This is lazy music. Music back then would still have some character to it because you still had to make it. Now, anyone who has a laptop or anything calls himself a producer, and they just put music out there at the drop. Any DSP will allow you to do so because they're going to get paid for it. But when my girls listen to, like City Girls, and something, it ain't even a clean version, because I understood me growing up trying to hide Two Live Crew from my parents, stuff like that. They're going to do the same thing, so you might as well let them listen to it. You might as well just educate them. Our parents didn't know how to educate us on hip hop because it was new to them. We grew up in that era, so we can have that ability to educate our daughters on what is real, what is sensationalism, whatever you have. Mm-hmm. However, it also gives them something to aspire to. I'm not saying to the level of being ratchet. I'm talking about to the level of being an influencer to a certain degree, right? There's a certain way you can influence someone positively and negatively, right? Some of the stuff that they do, talking about, my booty hole browns, to me, that's more like us listening to Two Live Crew back in the day. You know what I'm saying? It was like, running a train on a girl, you know, just a bunch of stuff like that. And you got to listen, you got to think about how when you were young, that type of stuff was interesting to you because you just think to yourself like, damn, they really doing that stuff. As you get older, maybe you experience this stuff, you'd be like, okay, so I understand what was going on back then. For your daughters or for your sons, it's new to them right now. So they are in the same spot that we were in. We're just a blueprint and cheat code now. We could help them navigate through what is sensationalism, what is it real. Like my mother used to really think that listening to this music was gonna get us shot. Like listening to, you know, that type of stuff. And it wasn't even, like half the people that listen to the music don't even, you know, they were soft anyway. So it wasn't like these ones was really carrying guns and stuff like that. It was just, you know, some people did, some people didn't. But it wasn't to the fact that if you was bumping colors or something like that, somebody thought you was in a gang or anything like that. So I don't, to your point, Judge, to your question, I don't filter what my girls listen to. I just try to educate them and say, I know you're gonna listen to it anyway, but I prefer that if you have questions about something, come ask me and don't ask your friends about it, because your friends know just as much as you do, not more than what I do.
Right, and I agree to 100% because, like you said, we were coming up, we had a lot of different types of hip hop. Like we had the sexual sensation of hip hop when we had, you know, like you said, 2 Live Crew. We had the song, you know, Daisy Dukes. We had videos, you know, Pumps in the Bump. We did have some videos and some music that was really tantalizing to the young preteens. I mean, it was very nice to look at. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I mean, that wasn't something that we like. Hey, you know, they'll tell a girl go shake a butt, nothing like that. That wasn't our type of thing. These girls nowadays, they're 9, 10 years old, even younger, out there twerking to music and stuff like this. And I mean, I'm not a fan of it, of course, but at the same time,
don't be like that, Jai. Don't be like that. Because I bet you can give me a top 5 BET uncut playlist right now.
Yeah, but what he's saying is he went at that age, he wasn't doing that shit. Is what he's saying. Though I get what you're saying. Though, like that's a parenting issue. Though at that point, like if you allowing your child to do what they see on television or on videos and stuff like that, that's a parent issue.
I agree.
Like,
that's movies, social media, that's videos, that's music.
I wouldn't walk around the house pumping the air like hammering them in front of my mom and them. You know, just, I wouldn't do shit like that. I mean, because you know you
gonna wear the baggy pants and do the spin moves.
Nah, I wouldn't do it.
No baggy pants for George. All right.
Oh, Hammer was tripping.
All right, now V, you have the youngest child in the group. So with little soldier out there, and he's coming up listening to music and everything. What are you planning on talking to your son about when he comes of age, when he starts to know more about music and possible influence?
Well, I'll go back to what George said. They're gonna listen to it regardless.
Right.
So what you have to do as a parent is separate reality from the music. And the stuff they talking about, even with like you say with 2 Live Crew and other acts from back in the past, we knew that stuff wasn't our reality. It was cool to watch on TV. It was cool. But see, these kids have a different level with social media, with Snapchat, with Instagram. That stuff we didn't have. So they get more exposed. You know, we just had the video. We could catch a video here on BET, MTV, or whatever.
Those guys at their university you cheer for had these experiences with Uncle Luke.
But these also they're considered adults at that point in college.
Yeah, I'm just messing with you.
I'm speaking to the 12 to 16-year-olds. The most influence, the ones who can be influenced.
They exposed to so much.
We weren't. We didn't have that social media aspect. Yeah. So using what we had the bare minimum, which is like a video coming home from school, hoping to see Pumps in the Bump or see Luke or see something with the chicks, Rex in Effect, you know, Rump Shaker, stuff like that, you know. But these kids now, man, just oversaturated with it, man. The stuff, the videos being released. Oops, I leaked the video of me having sex. I don't know how it happened. I was hacked.
We know how that happened. She put it out there. It came out on her page. We know how it happened.
So, but I'm saying we didn't have that. So it's totally, you can't compare this generation to how we was because there's no comparison when it comes to that type of exposure.
It's like the hottest chick out there, you know, like you say, Sexy Red. We already saw a sex tape. I'm still waiting on MC Lyte's sex tape.
No,
I don't know if I want to see that.
I don't know. I don't think. I don't
No,
know.
it's like,
Don't
That's
be
gonna
like
be hot in
that.
the streets right
Don't
now.
be like that.
it's
It
real
come out
talk. Like, I
tomorrow.
don't.
It be front and center.
Everything, like, you can see somebody on social media die. I remember
Yeah,
back in the
yeah.
day, you would watch Faces of Death, and you'd get like a upset stomach watching some of that stuff that
Yeah.
happened. Now you so desensitized from it because it's everyday occurrence. It's in your face every day. So
Yeah.
these kids don't have they don't have. I want to say they don't have.
Limitations. They don't have
fear.
limitations.
They don't. It's just there's no delineation between reality and the next door neighbor. Because the shit could be happening next door now, you know what I'm saying? And it's being broadcast. Like, we back then, like, of course, I mean, there were things that were in society, and we feel like that it's been 1,000 times enriched now. But the question is it really more, or do we just see it more? You know, that's always the question. Like, we know it's always been going on, but since we see it every day, we feel like it happens more. And I don't think it really.
I think that's a great question, and I always believe that it's just, it's publicized, like you say, all these different social media mediums. We see it all the time. People haven't been dying just now. Like, you actually look at the numbers from the early 90s, people died more then than they do now. We just see all of it now.
You got a graph? You got a chart?
You know I do.
Yeah.
You know I got one. You already know I got one. You already know I got it.
I'm glad you mentioned the social media aspect of it, because a lot of times, like you said, when we were growing up, there wasn't social media that was out there, and then today everybody's got a phone, everyone's got a tablet, a laptop, like you said, to do anything when it comes to social media. Do you think they're utilizing social media to self-promote, or are they just completely attention whoring?
Yes.
Yeah, of course. The answer is yes, because you
both,
monetize
or
it.
just to one?
Well, you're monetizing based off your social media influence. Whether, like, the same reason you do your side hustles for YouTube, same reason these folks on YouTube doing these other things. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all these are points of monetization. These things didn't exist. So when you see them AWing, it's for clicks. You see them putting out their music, obviously for clicks. And obviously there's some good to it. We're seeing more things. There are more options due to social media. There's a couple of artists we wouldn't know of if it wasn't for them posting a mess on YouTube. Like our good friend Soulja Boy. He became famous posting on all the other social medias. Trying to get popular. So we're exposed to a lot more. So there's a lot more trash that come through the door, but there are a couple of gems that come through also.
I mean, like you said, with YouTube and other social media, when you are posting on social media, there isn't a filter to say, you know what, that doesn't work, or nope, that doesn't sound right. They just, like you said, posting stuff left and right. And like you said, a few diamonds in the rough will come out, but I'll say like 95% of the music that's on there is trash.
Dang, you harsh. I'm curious, John. Is there anybody from this new group outside of the Kendricks, the J. Cole's, anybody off the beaten path that you listen to?
I listen to songs. I'm not gonna sit there and say,
give me a song, give me something.
I mean, I like that that song, the favorite song that's out there. I forget. I don't even know who the artist's name is, but I like the song.
You can say you like Tootsie.
Man,
I like the song.
like that?
I like it. I ain't gonna lie, I like the song.
I think we gotta stop.
I don't sit there and listen to it. I don't really care about the artist. If it sounds cool, I'm gonna listen to it. It don't matter who you are. If it sounds good, I'm gonna listen to it.
We gotta stop saying Kendrick and Cole and them are this new group. They own it. They're
not
new.
100%.
They're not new no more.
But I knew that's where he was gonna go. That's why I tried to eliminate.
Yeah. But we talking
other than that's pretty much. I listen to most stuff from the 90s, early 2000s, our formative years from high school, college. That's music I still listen to this day.
You listen to Future? You listen to Future?
Some stuff, yeah. I'm not listening to an album from beginning to end. I
don't know why. Future got heat. Just saying. That mid 2000s Future run is dope.
I still listen to So Icy. That's my jam right there. That's Ken Boy. That's Chuck, but that's Champ Boy right there.
There's old Gua.
Yeah, right.
No, but I mean,
Quiet.
what I consider new is anybody with a prefix in front of their name, NBA, NLE.
Little YMB.
Lil Young, that's been going on for a while. I'm just saying, but if you blindfolded me and you put on 3 songs by 3 different rappers, I couldn't tell you the difference of today.
I
couldn't tell you the difference.
Don't be like that. I could put on Pooh Shiesty, my
Yes,
guy Peasy, and my guy Lil Tecca, and they all sound different. Don't be like that.
No, they don't.
I know y'all still like, who the hell are all 3 of these guys?
Right,
exactly.
exactly.
They are, but I don't listen to them.
I don't listen to them. I think like my kids, like I try to open their minds up to some Tupac or some Biggie. Like, that's old people rap. I'm like, what?
It is
old
for
people
them.
rap. That's classics.
That's what it is, though.
It's good music. It's still good music.
Just trying to open
they open it down. I open my ears up to that stuff all the time. Like, hey, listen to this. Hey, listen to that. All right, I'll listen to it. Like, my son's favorite artist was the guy was saying Lucid Dreams. What's his damn name?
Juice WRLD?
Yeah, Juice WRLD. That was his favorite artist.
He did.
When he died, he cried.
I didn't know you knew.
Do y'all notice that Chuck know all this shit? Like,
right, yeah, exactly, boy.
No. His head has a lot of shit in it, like a lot of bad garbage. That means
Chuck talking like he gotta go to school in the morning.
that's what I'm saying. Like, is that nigga in 11th grade again? What is that?
Right, exactly.
Chuck trying to go to the club still and hang with these young chicks.
He's on
I can't go to.
That's what it is, man. He on promotion duty.
He's like, I gotta get my little Uzi Vert on. Hold on, let's get this on real quick.
Champ,
I think a lot of these new,
Champ, what you got in the chamber?
They have hits, one song here. I might just catchy. The beat might be catchy, but they're not talking about nothing, man. I mean, at least I can say in my time, the '90s up until. I mean, you won't get me wrong. We had novelty rap too back then. Of course, we did. It was a lot of novelty rap, but we had some. Our pillars were people that I still listen to today. I don't know nobody who's out right now that's a young guy like the Lil Tecca or whoever some of the people you name. I won't be listening to 20 years from now. You won't be listening to them 20 years from now.
No, that's fair. That is fair.
But your parents not listening to rap music from 20 years ago.
I mean, that's true. I'm talking about us though. Who are we?
But I'm saying we are the parents now, so ain't no way in hell we listen to what they listening to 20 years later. Because our parents
but they won't be listening to it 20 years later. I guarantee they won't, because there's no substance in it.
Right. They're not gonna sit there and say, hey son, listen to this. They're not gonna do that. And I'm pretty sure when they have kids, they're gonna be having the same conversation that we having right now.
My son told me when young Dolph died, he was probably top 7 all time. Now, first of all, top 7 is so random, right? So random.
Top 7.
Your son was like, what?
Okay, man, whatever. So I mean, that's sure, have it, whatever.
What are you basing these numbers on touchdowns? Why you come up with 7?
But V, it's interesting that you said that because if you guys have seen in the media lately, you know, it went viral. Would you rather have 500K or would you rather have a dinner with Jay-Z? Jay-Z finally responded to it. Jay-Z was like, all the game I've given to you, I've put down on wax on all my albums. So when you say he's giving you game, Jay said through all his albums, he's giving you all the game already. Take the 500K and go listen to his albums. Like when you say that, like you can't, you have a point. You can't listen to any of these cats and listen to their catalog and get free game.
I think he's trying to resell his music again.
Nah, he didn't have to tell real people.
I don't think so.
No, man.
If any one of y'all would have said y'all was taking lunch, I would have slapped the shit out of y'all.
I'll slap the shit out myself.
Man, exactly. I got kids in college and I need that money.
Right. That was an easy conversation to have. You want 500,000, you want to eat lunch with Jay. I'll get 500,000 and then we can go eat. I mean, what's the difference?
Right.
But you get what I'm saying though, G?
Lunch on me.
Jay said he gave you all his game and all his albums.
I mean, I heard what he said. I mean,
the only person who said they'd take the meal was Rick Ross.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he rich.
He rich.
Exactly. That's what I say. Now, it is funny that you got a jet, say, I parked out in the back of your house, but then you say, oh, yeah, the big homie, I go out and eat with him. Yeah. 500,000 ain't nothing. Yeah, to you.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, to us, 500,000 to me, that's to make a world of difference right there. I'm telling you that right now.
It's weird though, because I do know one person that would take that lunch. Probably
Ooh.
Champ.
No, he wouldn't.
Champ, would you take the lunch? Or
You know he love
500K?
whole catalog. You know how
We
much
know
he love
you love
Ho's
Jigga.
catalog.
Jigga's
As
your
much
I
dude.
want her to
As much
answer
as we beef, my guy, I know my guy. I know his answer already. He where the bread at?
You want to have lunch and get the blueprint, or you gonna listen to the blueprint?
No, I mean, Jay-Z already put you on game. I mean, and that's what George said. I think that conversation is more for the generation of people who are engulfed in this celebrity worship mentality, to where, they feel like there's something valuable in somebody else being famous. We're not necessarily fans of Jay-Z for his fame. We have a relationship with Jay-Z where it was a Walkman and the headphones, or car ride and rewind that line, or when we get together and something come on, everybody trying to, recite the verse and make sure everybody on top of the game. We were actually paying attention to the art of it. So that's what we got the value out of it. Sitting down with Jay-Z while he ordered salmon and bread, and we ask him, what him and Beyonce eat on Tuesdays, like we're gonna pick up some remarkable game. That's not what we in it for. We in it as fans, and we're fans of the art, and that's our value from Jay-Z. Sitting down to dinner with Jay-Z would never top $500,000.
We ain't no damn groupies.
No. And the compound of what Champ said is, and I think all of us could probably agree to this. We're still fans to a certain degree of Jay-Z, but we stopped being fans when he became famous, because he started rapping about shit that we have no idea about.
We're talking about Basquiat's. I can't relate.
I'm just saying, like, a lot of shit, like taking trips. Oh, like when there's always beauty in the story of how you get to where you go, and that's a lot of us can relate to that, because we all been in a dark place in our life. But once you get out of that and start talking about the other side where we haven't even got to yet, that's when a lot of viewership and a lot of ears start falling, to the wayside. Because I mean, you only can hear about, like you said, Chuck, you can only hear about Basquiat's and 100-foot yachts and Amalfi Coast and this shit. I mean, if you can't afford to go there, why are you telling me about it? Like, I ain't going to visit.
But at the same point, it's the same point, G, isn't that where the game come in? If he's telling you how to get this, tell you where to get this from, or were you listening to talking about how he was just
But the game of how to get it from no longer exists. Record companies don't exist like that no more. That's just outdated. Like, I'm gonna hustle I'm gonna hustle records right now when everything is DSP. Now I get that there's still some relatable facts to how you can still hustle, make music, or hustle and do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But in this day and age, I guess what he's saying by the blueprint is you got to stay on your grind and hustle a little harder. Which, I mean, that's the key to everything, right? But that's not new.
Right.
So, I mean, the question to me always was a stupid ass question. If somebody's going to offer
anybody,
yeah, I mean, why would you even take lunch with Jay-Z if you haven't listened to his music, if you don't know who he is? You already know. He don't have to tell you what he gave you already. Like, everybody has either quoted something from him, took something from him, or applied it in their life somehow, some way. If it got you somewhere, so be it. But run that bread.
Right.
And I want to piggyback off something you said, Champ. You said about, when we were growing up, they had actually the artistry of music. Do you consider today's rappers in the hip hop game, are they true artists, or are they just people just putting out music? I mean, I don't really see a whole lot of artistry in today's music like we used to have.
It's art in a sense that it might not be good art, but it's art. Art is to evoke a certain energy, frequency, and vibration from the person that's looking at it or who's intaking the art.
Right.
There are people that are sitting and look at a painting, and I swear we wouldn't find the value in it at all. And, it resonates with them on whatever level that they, getting their vibe from. So I can't really say it's not art. It's not really good art. I think that it's very powerful art, though. I'm not sure exactly what it is. A lot of it sounds like trash. A lot of it sounds like chanting. A lot of it sounds very simplistic. It sounds redundant. But for whatever reason, that frequency and that vibration is resonating with the younger generation to the point to where I've had my daughter tell me when we get in the car, she said my rap got too many words in it, and it threw me for a loop because that's what we used to actually be the determining factor on whether or not you were a good artist is what are you saying? How did you say it? Did you see how he said it? Oh man, we start talking about techniques, rapping fast, double time, all that type of stuff. We were actual fans of what was being said. Now we're at the point to where my daughter's telling me my rap music got too many words in it. And
Well, see, we had, I don't mean to cut you off, champ, but we had low vibrational rap also, and it was the person who was delivering it. You can go, okay, you can go take a Pimp C line. You can say, young pimp, steak and shrimp, fly high like a blimp. But it's Pimp C saying it. So you nod your head to it. You can't do a more simplistic line than that. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
But it was Pimp C
yeah.
giving that line. So you felt it differently versus, the average knucklehead rapper. But
Is that
still
low?
low vibrational.
Is that low vibration? Well, his name is Pimp C. Like Pimp, Pimp. No, for real, Pimp speaking them terms. Like you know what I'm saying. I took all the treadmills out of my house because I don't want my girl to think she runs shit. Just real simplistic shit, right? That's like for real. Like that's what that was Pimp C shit. Like as being calling himself Pimp C, I'm gonna talk that pimp shit. I will say this though, I wouldn't call their art trash or garbage because art is subjective, and an artist should not have to tell you what you get out of their art. Like if they have to tell you about it, now they're forcing you to look at something that you probably didn't want to look at, right? It's supposed to be for you. And I use this analogy like I tell we have family gatherings, and I talk to people about R. Kelly all the time. I said, you can talk bad about R. Kelly all you want to. There's R. Kelly the person, and there's R. Kelly the artist. R. Kelly the artist, genius. R. Kelly the person, not so much, right? So I mean, right. you can't sit here and say, well, because he's a bad person, his music sucks. You weren't saying that before this happened. The point I'm trying to make is,
do Kanye next. Do Kanye next.
You can separate the art from the artist.
Right.
Kanye the same way. You can separate the art from the artist. Man.
So I think you can't separate the person from the artist because art is one of the most, and not to sound too off the wall, it's one of the most magical things you can do, where you could, like some of the iconic songs that we have literally started from nothing. And the beats and the lyrics and the words and the vibe and the groove, like it becomes timeless. And that just came out of somebody's imagination, thoughts, what have you. So it's really, really a magical process. But to say that you can separate the person from the art is kind of a misnomer, because without that person being who they are, you don't get that art. R. Kelly has to be that person. I'm not saying you have to agree with him, but if you're going to make room for his art, you have to make room for the artist as well.
Well, here's what I'll say about that, and I agree with some points on that. I'll give your favorite athlete, champ. Michael Jordan's an asshole. Everybody knows this.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Jordan on the court is an artist. He has to go to a certain place every game to get this out. And it's when I say you can separate it, when people go in, like Quincy Jones said, you go in the studio, you open the door, you let God come in. When you are making your stuff, you're making your shit, you're making whatever you do, it is an out-of-body experience. You're not who you are to be able to make dope shit. You have to be able to go in, just like they say it's a thin line between being brilliant and being insane. Mm-hmm. And I firmly believe that when people are really on their shit, like Kobe, the way he trained was unreal. Like no human being should train like that. But That's an out-of-body experience for you to be able to go in. LeBron, out-of-body experience. All these people who do these magnificent things or put these great works out have out-of-body experiences to be able to do what they do. And when they come back to reality, they don't know how to interact with people. That's them being the asshole at that point. Because at this point, like I don't know how to navigate my life around normal people because I'm not normal.
Exactly. It's funny. I was telling somebody, you know, when you come across a genius, I think it's almost really clear if you're a normie or not, because they don't know how to, like you just said, they don't know how to interact with normal folks because they're wired differently. The shit they're thinking about is not what you're thinking about more times than not. Yes, paths may intersect, but in general, you're not on the same planet. And you know, and that's just unfortunately for us as watching these artists grow, do their thing in any avenue versus us normal people who just kind of watch it, absorb it, and kind of take it in. So I'm glad you said that, G. They're not on the same wavelength as us.
And that's why I say you could separate it, because you can have the fun enjoyment of what they do as a product of what you enjoy, but you don't enjoy them as the person. A lot of people don't. Like my teammates will tell you, they just didn't enjoy him as teammates. Some people close to what he could do couldn't understand it and appreciate what he was, but others couldn't. It's just like, I just came here to play basketball. You trying to come here and kill folks. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't for everybody.
Right. But Michael, you know, if we're going to reference Michael, he even said in the documentary, he said, you know, that's how I played the game. And if you don't like it, then fine. And in order for us to even get the product that's Michael Jordan, I think it kind of teeters on what we were talking about earlier, where fans feeling like they have some ownership or stake in your level of fame. We don't get the chance to say, I like Kanye, but I wish Kanye just shut up. You don't get Kanye the artist without having that what's ever in him to not shut up. You don't get to say, oh, I like Prince, but man, he dressed weird. You don't get the eccentric tunes and rhythms and things he create without him being eccentric as the person. We can say
Oh, no, I disagree. Yeah, you can get there without the ass out jeans.
Well, no, I mean,
come on, man, V. You tell me you can get Little Red Corvette without those shoes?
No, I'm just saying you can land
without the ass out jeans.
You can land on it. I'm saying you don't necessarily have to agree with it, but what makes Prince the artist is Prince the person. You know, those things are kind of hard to separate, because R. Kelly, I don't care how you chop it up, to write to that level, to write from those perspectives, it speaks to how he thinks and what he's been brought up in. And so to sit there and say, man, I want a bone to his music, but what got him in the vibe to get ready to bone and write whatever, you might not agree with. But R. Kelly music is R. Kelly music. Like, how can you sit there and try to throw R. Kelly away and keep the music?
I think a lot of people canceled R. Kelly because
did they really cancel R. Kelly?
Some people did. I'm not gonna sit there and say I did.
It's impossible. Some people radio would be shut down. It's impossible.
Right.
It's impossible. Just like, people, and this is not part of our topic, but a lot of Black geniuses get labeled something, always. And they want, they want to try to erase what Kanye wasn't always outspoken. He was always a genius, but he wasn't. There's levels to genius, and there's also bipolarism. Those are two different things.
I agree, because we all know that Kanye ain't all the way there.
Because before Mom Dukes passed away, I was
gonna say the exact same thing.
He was reeled in to a certain degree. He's always been the arrogant, pompous asshole. That's what we loved about Kanye, right?
Right.
That's what we loved about Kanye. But then when it starts to fly off the handles and you start to see some of the stuff, you're like, that. And music started to change too. And people can say, well, you still got to appreciate the new form of music. He's trying to push the genre to another levels, which is fine. Whatever. there's no way you could tell me that any of the last 3 albums that he did is on par with College Dropout.
Well, no, of course not.
Well, no,
of course
they're not. I mean, everybody knows Kanye's best albums are his first 3 albums. After that, it went completely downhill. The fourth one?
Don't be like
Heartbreaks and 808.
Yeah, because don't do that.
It
was a good album, but it had nothing like the first 3.
What?
It was a good album. It's better than this other stuff that the latest stuff he put out, but it's not better than the first 3. It's not on par the first 3. It's not on par the first 3.
I don't know about that.
And that's my opinion. It's not on par the first 3. College Dropout is the best one. Then, I mean, Late Registration was really, really good. But I mean, Heartbreaks and 808 was just it was okay. You can listen to it, but it was just okay.
He only knows. He only knows
3.
Hey, John. Hey, man. Hey, I'll give you some help. My Dark Twisted Fantasy. That's another album. I'm gonna give you a little help.
This is why I don't fuck. This is why I fuck with Chin. I wasn't gonna say it, but he was just. He was like, his first 3. What's the fourth one, John? He was like,
Graduation. Graduation was on par with Registration.
Third album was Graduation. So
that's what I said. Graduation was the. I said Heartbreak Always was not that good. That was his fourth one, and that wasn't that good to me. It was okay, but it wasn't that good.
Gotcha.
It wasn't on par with the first 3.
But I just want to say I disagree with you don't necessarily have to have the artist to get the art. I think it's one of them situations, once again, when they go in there and they create something and it's them working their magic and then they step back into the flesh after that.
Well, see, that's
it though? Because Champ makes a good point. He makes a great point. Because you don't get that music without their personal experiences of what they've lived. It's different with music.
And that's exactly what I'm saying. Like our ingestion.
What was Prince living at 16 when he gave you his first album?
Was he 16?
Yeah, he was. Check it out.
You asked where he was living?
No, I know where he was living. I'm just saying.
Yes,
was Prince at 16 though? I'm saying he was a musical genius at 16, but was he the extravagant, flamboyant Prince at 16? Like,
but I mean, but experiences shape
beating Charlie Murphy in basketball.
No, I mean, but seriously, experiences shape you. So I mean, it's one thing to say he wasn't always like that. I think that we take.
But that gift was there before that, though, right? The gift was always there.
Right, but what compelled 16-year-old Prince to produce what 16-year-old Prince varies from what allowed 23-year-old Prince to create what 23-year-old Prince created. So I think we're doing too much as fans who are trying to act like we have ownership over their fame. If there were no cameras and there was nothing that we zoned in on people's personal lives and we just took the art, nobody be sitting here saying, I want to separate this person from the art. We're doing it now because of bedroom decisions or opinions on religion, or we're doing like those types of things. They matter, but how much should it matter as a person who really don't know these people? And we're just along for the ride because we're fans of their art that they produce.
Well, okay, I got a better one for you, and it doesn't necessarily apply to y'all. And hear me out, don't laugh. And there might not be a lot of fans for this person, but he might have a following. Do you think Dwight Howard's fans think of him any different from the way? No, for real. Do you think that they think any different of him because of what just came out, or is Dwight Howard still Dwight Howard? See, this is what I'm talking about. They're going to separate. They're going to separate their fandom of being Dwight Howard from Dwight Howard and what he does in his own personal life. You can't sit here and tell me you can't say Dwight Howard, what he did personally helped him score or get rebounds and shit like that. I mean, that's
but I think sports and music are different because in music
we talked about Mike though. We just talked about Mike.
I know this. I think it's different though. I think music and sports are different because you can literally go on a court, play shooter basketball. They ain't got nothing to do how you treat your wife But when you're talking about your music, especially if you're the writer of the music, you're generally talking about your experiences.
And I think with music,
and it's funny if you let
interpretation.
people. Go ahead.
Everybody can't just shoot a basketball. Everybody.
You know what's coming.
Everybody can't think 2 or 3 plays ahead of time. That's the gift.
Yeah, you're right.
You understand what I'm saying? People who pen songs, these are things that just, who was it? Who was it I was watching that said, I think James Fauntleroy said he was just burdened, him and Jonte Austin were burdened with songs just come in their head and they don't even know how to stop it. It's just, they just hear songs all day and they write. Sean Garrett said the same thing. I don't understand how it happens. I'm burdened with the curse of being able to write songs and and they'll just sit there like I'm thinking, like they'll have a blank staring like, are you still with us? Yeah, just things just that's not normal.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. So you have someone who's burdened with that gift. It's a gift, but it's a curse.
Yeah,
so,
right.
So for to have an hour or 2 hours to yourself without that, you might snort cocaine. You might start drinking. You might get a lot of women. You might doing all these things that make you, if we're fans, make you a bad person. But in order for you to be the artist that you are, you need to be that.
But what if you never knew that person did that? How would you know, though? The only reason we know these things is because some of this shit comes out.
And that's my point. That's my point. I think when we were talking about the Jay-Z and the $500,000 or the dinner with Jay-Z, is that people attach a certain level of ownership to people's fame. We're not entitled to any of that. We're not entitled to just because we bought somebody's album, they owe us something. They owe us the art. And I think we get caught up in a point to where if their personal habits don't align with us, then we start acting like we have a moral high ground to judge their art or judge them as an artist. When we're there because we appreciate their art. They didn't ask us to be their fans. They didn't ask for our judgment. But we walk around as fans and feel like, hey, I love your art, but you gotta stop being the artist that makes you able to make the art.
They kind of do ask, because if they didn't, I mean, that's what promos are for, right? That's what like going to in-store promotions used to be. That's what going to the radio station before your concert. That was more of them indirectly, not begging you, but indirectly saying, hey, I'm in your town, come check me out. Where can they check you out at? Oh, come check me out at the real. That's them asking you to be their fan right there. So if
they're asking you for an opportunity to listen to my music.
That's what I'm saying. So to ask you to be a fan.
But no one is saying that you have to like the music. This is art. It's up for your own interpretation. So what I'm saying is, if someone delivers something that comes from a creative space, and for us to be a fan of what they created, and then for us to turn around just because we liked it, now we feel like we can tell them, hey man, stop doing cocaine, stop doing this.
But see, I think that's my point though, because if R. Kelly was free today and he got out of jail and we know what he did, and he came out and made a new album and went on a tour and said, hey, I want y'all to check my new music out, there's gonna be people like, I'm not listening to this shit no more because of who you are. Before they knew that, they would gladly listen to it. Even though he was still doing the same shit, they would gladly listen to it. But now it's the fact that you are who you are. Your art becomes you, and I can't fuck with that no more. Which shouldn't be the case. That shouldn't be the case. It shouldn't be a line in the sand to say, if I, the human, fuck up, my personal life, personal is the key word there, but I still have this gift to give music. Are you an enabler because you listen to my music? No. You are a person who enjoys good music. And I mean, that's the bottom line. What I'm saying is these things, these smear campaigns and smudges on our Black artists creates a great divide within our community for us to say, we no longer listen to this, or we no longer pay attention to this or that. And I don't think that that's right, because at the end of the day, to go back to what we were originally talking about, Jay-Z says the proof is in the pudding, the blueprint is in the music. So if I'm going to keep putting music out, I'm giving somebody hope somewhere. Someone, it may not be you, it may not be John, it may not be V, it may not be Chuck, but someone, this music may save someone's life. And for us to turn a blind ear to it because of someone falls down in society, we need to learn how to separate the art from the artist, period. There's beauty in the artwork. There may be not so much beauty in the artist. It's okay. We're all fallible. That's all I'm saying. So I don't think you have to have both. You don't have to have the art and the artist. You just have to have what they produce. There could be a farmer out there who done killed 13 people and buried them, but they came with a seed that can continue to multiply and save the world. Are you going to say, no, I don't want that seed because you didn't kill 13 people? No, you're not.
That's a tough one to swallow, though.
I mean, yeah,
I get exactly where you're going.
He's definitely a tough one to swallow because of everything he's done. I mean, like you said, if he was able to be free and go on tour, he's not selling out.
Are you going?
Me? No.
Yes.
I'm going.
Y'all saw my Apple Year in Review playlist last year. Kells was one. Probably going to be again this year.
That's fair. That's fair. Hey, Jack, we got time because I'm curious. I know we talked a lot about rap in its current state, but I think a genre is almost outside of St. Louis' finest is also struggling, which would be R&B. Think about when we grew up, though. R&B was popping. We had all types of artists, all types of male groups. I don't know if there's a male group that exists today. Like the male group is
R&B,
gone.
not an R&B like that.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, we had some bangers growing up. I mean, we had some bangers.
I don't know. You may know. I don't know an R&B group.
But this is one I think I say to anybody.
R&B group.
This is what I said to anybody in anything. The 90s was the best decade for everything.
Damn.
And my
Wow.
90s was the 90s music. 90s music
was the best for you.
Okay, well, name something. Is music today better than it was in the 90s? Is music today better than it was in the 90s? Or I mean, besides like or are there movies that are better today than what we grew up with?
Hold on. Was R&B better in the 2000s than the 90s?
Talk to us, Jack.
Yes.
I'm thinking the 90s. I think 90s was better than. I mean, even though the early 2000s, I still kind of grouped it in with the 90s because a lot of those artists.
No, man, tell these bums that Boyz II Men was cooking.
You do. Hold on, John. You do know.
I consider like up until like 2005, like still kind of 90s. Because
that's not math. That's not math, sir.
You can't do that.
I mean, there's still most artists that were performing in the 90s performed in the early 2000s, and they still had bangers. So I still consider them part of that generation.
The 2000s, Josh, 2000 to 2009, because
that's not what math is.
Yeah, the 90s is 90 to 99.
I know what you're talking. I know which decade. I know the decades you're talking about. But I'm saying the artists that were banging in the 90s also were hot in the early 2000s as well, up into 2010. Usher being one of them. He was a
Did Usher make better music in the 90s or the 2000s?
His music came out in the 90s.
Confessions came out in the 2000s.
Did he make better music in the 2000s or 90s?
2000s.
He made better music about say in the 2000s, yeah, but he still
okay. So that's one. Keep going.
He still started in the 90s.
Boyz II Men.
You said the best music though.
I still do. I think the best hip hop and the best R&B came out in the 90s.
Oh,
overall, I'm not just about just particular artists. I'm talking about overall. Nothing to 90s R&B, nothing compared to 90s hip hop.
I see where he going.
Overall, nothing compares to 90s hip hop and R&B.
The best R&B song is "Be Without You" by Mary J. Blige. That was in the 2000s. That was voted the best R&B song of all time.
Who said that?
Yeah, who the hell said that?
Was that a Billboard 100?
No. This was all.
I didn't vote for that.
Gee, I don't know if you can jump off
I
the
didn't get a vote.
First of all, did you have a ballot?
Huh?
Did you have a ballot to vote?
No, there was no ballot that came out to my doorstep that hey, what's the top R&B songs? I did not get a ballot for that song.
I don't even think that makes my top 25.
What?
That Mary J track.
You a lie and a half.
It does not.
Is that the #1 song in your opinion of all time?
No.
So you didn't
However,
get down either.
it's up there. If you listen to, listen to the lyrics of the song.
I gotta go back and listen to it.
Exactly. So you
that
said
shit.
you said it's not in your top 10 or your top, but you don't even know the lyrics.
25.
So V, why do you feel like we can't have that conversation about today's R&B music? What's missing? What fell off between what is not the 90s to early 2000? What about now music that we cannot reproduce, but we're basically debating about the 90s and early 2000s?
I'm gonna say it. There's a lack of talent. That people actually had talent. You had, I'll just quote the ones in the '90s. It's just run them off the top of my head. You had Drew Hill. You had Jodeci. You had Boys to Men. Okay, shit. Okay, what else? You had
Say
Shy.
112. Say 112.
You had 112.
Profile.
I mean, right.
Profile
saying,
Take Six, After 7.
Yeah.
Right. So,
Men at
so we
Large.
got.
Drew
We
Hill.
can see
I named Drew Hill already, but
yeah, shut
I
up.
feel like there's not. It's a talent gap here. But the better question I feel like is why did those acts from the '90s and the early 2000s, why did they become extinct now? Why are they doing old head tours now?
I have an answer for it.
Ooh, talk to us.
Okay.
The sound became outdated. There's only so much sound of like the Underdogs or like Babyface LaFace, Hitco, Noontime. There's only so Puffy and them. There's only that type. The sound becomes so saturated and it becomes outdated over time. So do those producers, right? So like you still have like Harvey and Damon. You still have all these producers out here who still can produce that type of music. Listen, I'll give you the perfect example of a person who has changed and morphed throughout time. Chris Brown he is the gift that keeps on giving because he started out in that early 2000s and continues to go now, and his music continues to morph with different producers and the different types of flows that are going on, just like Four on the Floor, 4 beats and stuff like that. If we were to sit here and go look and listen to the R&B Money podcast, they're trying to get back to that
after this podcast, right?
After this podcast, of course. Because them niggas don't pay us to mention their name, those shit.
Right,
so,
right.
We need some money.
Right. Those particular producers still produce music. The way we consume music now, we're a generation that is older. So we're the only ones who appreciate that old, great tempo sound of like Stripped for You by R. Kelly or Tony Braxton. Like those type of people. And R&B is one of the genres that becomes extinct so quick. Your shelf life in R&B is the shortest in any genre of music. And it's because of Black people, because we're always looking for the latest and greatest. The Rolling Stones came to the Moody Center and sold out 3 nights. 3 nights. These motherfuckers are 70s. They right, 70s and 80s. If you told me that, and the only other Black group has done that is New Edition. And I think New Edition is only for nostalgia for women because of how much they love these brothers.
Oh, no, like, Frankie Beverly been on tour a long time.
Is he still on tour?
Yeah, and Frankie Beverly ain't selling out no huge arenas. He might sell out a 1,000 seated.
He at the Ambassador. But the point I'm making is right now, if you told, he would sell out the Ambassador right now. If you sit here and say like, there only Anita Baker can do it. Are you telling me Anita Baker is the only person who could have a residency in Vegas? Her and Mariah. So you're telling me like Tony Braxton couldn't? I think Tony Braxton could totally have a residency.
I thought Tony did have a residency
in Vegas.
I thought she did.
As long as Anita
had one.
Not as long,
but she had a residency.
She cooked for a hot second.
That's fine. So like a person like I'll give you another person like Fantasia can sing her ass off, right?
Man, she can sing. Her and Jordan Sparks, they can both sing.
Jordan.
Don't be like that.
No. Jordan can sing. The point I'm making is that their shelf lives are so small. because they get away from a lot of, if you ever look at R&B credits, they get away from what made them great. If you look at Boyz II Men were great when they had Tim and Bob, they had Dallas Austin, they had Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis, and they had Babyface doing all this shit. When they decided they wanted to start doing stuff for themselves and get more money for themselves, that's when the product started to dwindle. And then you try to run back and go back to where you came from. Usher has been dealing with the same crew of Brian Michael Cox and JD, the Avila brothers, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, still writing with Sean Garrett, Lil Jon on it. So he never delineated from what made him so good. He stuck with that same group and had L.A. Reid continuously be his A&R and tell him what's good and what's bad.
But that's weird that you say that, because in one breath you say, stay with the same crew, and then another breath you told me these R&B cats phase out because their sound phases out.
Right.
We say that this shit starts to get old, and the younger generation don't want to hear that. We can continue to consume those records, but we're eventually going to be dinosaurs just like everybody else. The younger generation, I guarantee you, everybody in this song could sing a verse from Lenny Williams, "Cause I Love You."
Well, of course.
Everybody in this group could sing a verse from Prince. Everybody in this group could probably give you a line from School Days. Yeah. Go ask your kids to do the same thing.
They won't. They don't
exactly.
Listen. They won't.
Exactly. Because we're supposed to be the curators of this shit, right? So when our parents used to take us places, they used to have this music, or when they used to clean up on Sundays, this music would be blaring and you would have to get up and do X, Y, and Z. We didn't pass the torch the way we were supposed to. We're not the curators the way we're supposed to curate this work and this art for these people.
I think what hasn't been curated and what we didn't pass along, and not necessarily just us individually, I'm talking about as a community. I think the more and more we got away from the church and gospel music and that being the root, I think that R&B has suffered, because whether it was the blues, rock and roll, early R&B, it all had roots in the church. It all had roots in individuals singing in choirs or singing in the church. The further and further we've removed ourselves from the church, I think we're starting to see the fruits of that show it rear its ugly head now in R&B music. It doesn't have that foundation. It doesn't have that common thread that makes it resonates to the soul. So a lot of music that you're talking about, the sound is outdated. It's not that the sound is outdated. It's just that it just doesn't resonate with the masses anymore, because they're removed from the core essence of it, which is, there being some spiritual overtones to not only the music, but the gift that is singing. That's an instrument. Using your body as an instrument.
I was hoping you was gonna get there, because I was like, when you was like, he's like, oh, because if you start thinking about a lot of your people from the 80s and 90s, a lot of their roots say, I started in the church choir. And if you made it in the church choir, you were singing solos in the church choir, you probably could sing.
But you can blame this. You can blame this. You can blame the shift on Kirk, because Kirk made it popular to have a different sound of what church sounded like.
Oh no, Kirk first couple of albums, man, he had some singers on that.
Correct, but as time went on, he also adapted to being a youth minister for these kids too, to be able to try to keep them incorporated in the church. Now, the other thing that Champ, and that was a great point, by the way, Champ. The other thing that pushed us away from church so much was that these kids became bold and got knowledgeable. Like our parents there was nothing wrong. Like you can't say nothing wrong about the Bible. Now you got these kids who break this stuff down and be like, some of this stuff isn't true. So it's like there's non-denominational churches who don't even practice music in their church, right? It's just all scripture and, it's giving and this, that, and the other. Or they'll bring in like a youth pastor or minister and they'll have an acoustic guitar and 3 white people singing, oh, how they love Jesus, right? And this is what's supposed to be acceptable. No, for real, this is what's supposed to be acceptable. Church used to be 3 hours long, from 9 to 12. Church is an hour long. Yeah, it's an hour long now. Maybe a couple songs. You used to have to go to revivals. We used to have to go to Sunday school. We used to have to go to vacation
Bible school for the
and
week.
all that time, I'm serious, and all that time you spent in the church while mom was in the choir, or aunt was in the choir, grandma was in the choir, we were trying to figure out what these instruments were. That's how I got into music, trying to play the organ, the drums, the piano, and stuff like that. Because I had nothing but time on my hands. Otherwise, we're chasing girls downstairs in the basement of the church doing stuff we ain't got no real talk. This is real talk.
Gee, I was in the choir. I was cooking. I was cooking.
Sure you were. These type of things don't happen no more. And of course, R&B music is rooted in gospel music, gospel chords, gospel, the voicing of the chords and how the piano and organ and stuff is being played, the pocket of the drummer. All that stuff translates over into R&B music, right? Now we don't necessarily have that anymore. However, what I say the sound has gotten stale is that kids don't want to, like somebody told, like, what was that, you champ who said your daughter said your rap got too many words in it?
Right.
Your music has too many verses, has a hook, has a bridge. Your music not saying, hey, shorty, slide in my DM. Like, if you don't know today's lingo, your R&B music, like we can still create good R&B music, but there are still people on these writing teams that say, hey, Ari Lennox and Jasmine Sullivan saying what that mouth do on a song. You know, like that's something that we would never have said a long time. We would have said it differently. Like Josie would have said it differently. But to hear women say something like that, it's like, okay, so you got some young writers on your team, or y'all young enough to understand what's going to, bleed through some of these people, and they can understand and accept it. A lot of people don't want to accept that, and we don't talk that way. In our age group, we don't talk that way. The only reason we do talk that way is if we're trying to stunt on somebody that's younger than us. We see them, hey, shorty, what's up? That's the only time. Or you're talking to your kids so they don't think you lame. One of the two.
Right.
So I mean, we got R&B music still. That's not the issue. I mean, that's all we do. We create.
That's okay. We can't hear it.
You don't have to hear it. We create. And I've said this before, the last group that we had of prominence was B2K.
Wow.
That's it.
No, you're probably right. That's just weird that's it. But you hit something that was really interesting. You said because R&B is rooted in from the church, spirituality. Is that because that's lost on kids today, that spirituality, that connectedness to church is why R&B also possibly faded? Meaning they can't connect to R&B music in the way that it was once done.
R&B used to be the music of love. Now it's the music of fucking.
Yeah.
True. That's true. I can't argue that comment. That's
when Chris Brown said, "Let me fuck you back to sleep." I mean, not saying it's Breezy's fault, but I'm saying this is Rick James had a song called "Mary Had a Pimp." This is like the old talk versus the new talk, right?
We don't have
like you say, your new talk is very direct, no play to it. Versus your old school players, they told you exactly what it was, but had a whole different.
Jodeci said, "Pump you back." Chris Brown said, "Fuck you back to sleep."
Okay, so why don't we all just take, regardless of the genre, whether it's rap or R&B,
and I love
we got a magic wand. We got 3 things that we would individually do to bring music to where you would be satisfied with it. What would those 3 things be? V, start with you.
Oh.
You said 3 things to bring it back to where it was, where R&B was first.
Well, not necessarily where it was, but where you will be satisfied.
Like I said earlier, I'll say number 1 would be the talent. People, groups, and acts that actually can sing, that can sing a cappella, that can sing without all the synthesizers and all the technology to make them presentable for us to purchase their music. We've heard people I use Boyz II Men as an example. we've heard them sing a cappella with no music. I think that's number one. You got to have that talent. Two, I think you got to have some. What's what I'm looking for? An audience for it. Well, okay, we the 40-year-olds, we have we the audience for it, but I don't think nobody under us will be interested in that music. So how do we get them to feel how we feel about that music? And
You're
then
supposed to be
three,
telling.
For
what you
me,
gonna say? Go ahead.
I said you're supposed to be telling us, like, give us your remedy. What are your three remedies? What would you do to get them to get back on board? What would be your remedy to repair what we consider, our most, popular genres of music?
Right now, I really don't have a remedy. I don't know how you can repair it. 'Cause I feel like that genre is gone. I don't feel like it can be repaired personally.
but if you had
I
a
don't feel
magic
like
wand,
you
you
can.
said,
Okay, so if you had the magic wand, then shit. I mean, you could just tap it and say, everybody start liking it. This new group, Boys to Men. Actually, Wanye's sons are out,
one
or
more,
son
yeah,
is out.
yeah,
Oh,
Yeah,
for
he's
real?
out. Yeah, I don't know if y'all even knew that.
one
Some of
more,
y'all
yeah,
might, but
yeah.
my wife hit me today. I was like, for real? She's like, yeah, that's Wanye's son for Boys to Men. So
I
for
ain't never
real?
heard of it.
And I listened to it, and it wasn't bad. It didn't sound bad. He sounded good, but that was like months ago. That probably was maybe a year ago she told me that. And now that buzz that was there, where that little interest I did have, is gone. So if I had, you said I had a magic wand, I would shit. Basically, I would try to. Talent was lacking to me. I mean, you
Yeah.
got your
Okay.
breezes, you got your ushers, you got your people here and there, but I don't feel like you got a big enough pool to tell. There's no Brian McKnights out here.
There are.
I mean,
You don't hear
shit.
about them.
Who? I mean, okay, why don't you hear about
They're not
Good
being
question.
they're not being pushed like that. Like you said, today's music, they're looking for what's hot in the streets. They're not looking for what's actually going to be mentally sounding good to people anymore. Looking for something that's
it? I
going to
mean,
like,
Brian
oh, this is
McKnight
new hot
wasn't
sound.
hot
This
in the
he's
street.
got the hot
Yeah,
His
beat.
some
It's not
fire
just got the
beat.
concrete.
the talents,
Oh, I agree with you. Talent is definitely gone. Also, in my opinion, I think harmony.
But
These
I think
people
that,
nowadays don't sing and harmonizing music anymore.
but I think you're also speaking about unicorns too, right? I mean, how many Luther Vandrosses were there? How many Whitney Houstons were there? How many Brian McKnights can there be?
We had a bunch
Otherwise,
growing up though, but
otherwise they
now
wouldn't
there's
be.
none.
Otherwise, they wouldn't be as big as who they are.
I don't know. We
or
had a lot.
what's the next one?
Everybody wanted unicorns in the 90s, but we had a
I didn't
lot
say
of
Right. That's
hot.
I disagree with that, pal. Because you had Whitney Houston, you had but then you had Tony Braxton that followed behind
This is
Whitney
Brother
Houston.
George.
Yeah, but Tony Braxton. My question was, nobody told Tony Braxton she needed to sound like Whitney Houston.
Mm.
No, she had her own
I
sound.
mean, true.
And
Right.
she was
So
beautiful.
Just like,
so
no, I'm saying
is there a
just.
lack of uniqueness, maybe? That's
I
what you're
wouldn't say
saying?
lack of uniqueness, because here's the question: God only makes one of so many certain people. Like, there's a reason that you haven't had another Al Green, you haven't had another Luther, you haven't had another Whitney. You're never going to have another Beyonce. I mean, these are things that it's like, these are things that are just known. Now, inside of Boys to Men themselves, Boys to Men can be rivaled with Jodeci. You can rival their songs. You're not necessarily going to rival the way that Wanye sings versus KC. Because I think KC is one of the best vocalists of our times too. Him and JoJo, honestly. I'll be real about it.
Yeah. I mean, I think they both. Yeah, they both.
Right, they both do.
I got to see firsthand.
I would, if I had that wand, I would take away all digital music and force people to work and perfect their craft and get in the studio and lay and have to take 100 takes to get your album right, not be able to just sit in front of a computer right now and have an album done in 3 days. There used to be a time where you had to be A&R'd and you weren't even ready, and you had to go see Puff, you had to go see Clive, you had to go see somebody, you had to go see what's my man's name? Andre Harrell. You had to go see these people for them to be like, you're not ready yet. You had to go see Al B. Sure. Al B. Sure had to take you under his wing and say, or Keith Sweat or somebody like that, like, hey, little nigga, you ain't ready yet. Let's do this. That would be the first thing I'll do. I'll take away digital, because this way people won't be able to steal music and create music so quickly. Because everybody wants to be a producer these days and not be instead of they call themselves composer, they can call themselves producer. That's not how shit works. That's for one. For two, people used to have to fight to get into these labels. There used to be lines of people at doors. You would have to call every day on a certain date, even just to get in and talk to somebody. Now it's just like, shoot me a record into my, in my DM or online.
But speaking to that part of the label, is the label part of the problem though? Because today's odd enough, if you work hard enough, you can do it without a label. No,
what I'm saying is so many people are flooding it that there's a lot of good music being lost, and they get tired of listening to this shit. They just push a lot of shit to the side now. And a lot of people get lost in that.
What about raping?
But you also say,
what'd you say?
What about raping you records?
That too.
Because these labels rape you.
Right.
But George, you say everybody want to be a producer, but can you fault them? Because that's what the longevity is. Versus we just said the artists don't get to hang around.
I'm not saying that.
So can you fault them for that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you fault them for wanting longevity in the game?
No. I'm not faulting them for wanting longevity. I'm faulting them because how easy it is now to do it. You don't have to have a 2-inch tape machine in your house no more. You don't have to have a 64-track board in your house. You don't have to actually get up and go to the studio, be in the studio at 2 o'clock in the morning when you can just roll out.
You need their iPad.
That's what I'm saying. And they put out stuff so quick that's not even polished. It doesn't even have layers to it where we used to fall in love. Like, you would go back and listen to a song a couple of times and be like, if you were a musician, be like, why the fuck did he play this chord here? Or why did his fingers do this? Or you listen to somebody do a run and be like, why did their mind go there? Like, what made them, or what made this person put this song with this vocal and all of a sudden it just meshed? Like that. It used to be a team. It used to be teamwork. Now it's just somebody sitting in front of a computer doing whatever and they don't even know chords. They're pushing buttons, adding chords to a DAW and saying that they're making music. The beauty in the music is fucking up the chord and like, I gotta figure out what the fucking chord is to this. And that's the beauty of it, because now you're like, okay, there is a satisfaction in that you wrote a song based off of what you know mentally, not what AI has told you the next progression of this chord should be. Now, it also helps those people who are musically inclined to get rid of writer's block and stuff like that. I'm okay with that. But for the general masses to be able to just sit down here and call themselves a producer because they hit pads and they put what they call music out, that's not being a producer. A producer produces a song. A composer makes music. Those are two different things. So
I agree with what you're saying.
My 3 things would be: take away digital media, make people work harder, and make people have satisfaction in what they're doing. That's how you get things back, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think having a group of people listening to an album, listen to a song to say like yay or nay on it, like could this be a hit? Could this not be a hit? I mean, how many times have you heard people have all these unreleased songs that they've written or had composed or whatever, but they only put out the best ones on the album? They may have had on the album may have, let's say, 10 tracks, hypothetically. They may have like 10 tracks. But how many songs they actually perform or write to be on the album, but only the top 10 actually made it? You got to have an actual crew of people actually like, you know what, this is an okay song, but it's not going to go on this album. Work on this one for your next one. This top 10 are going to make it. These other 20 work on them some more. That's one thing. I also agree with you, George. Take the digital stuff out of it. If you can sing a cappella or single to some basic acoustics and actually throw down, you can sing. Like you said, to take the digitization, the auto-tune, take that stuff out.
Auto-tune, yeah. Melodyne, no. A lot of your favorite artists who sing, they all use vocal correction, not auto-tune. There's a distinct difference. Okay. So Melodyne is something that.
And then actually have a passion for it now. I don't think these people, they out there just trying to get a check and get known. they don't really have a passion for it no more.
But that's the
That's
thing,
just
it's a
my
hobby.
opinion.
It's a hobby to some people who
It
make
is.
music,
There's
who
no
make
like
money.
it used to be a passion to folks to like actually do this every day. They train their voices for this. People don't train the voice like that no more.
And they don't consider these people competition. It used to be times where Mike and Prince used to have competition. These other artists were like, I listen to Usher, and like Usher said, his competition was Justin Timberlake, because he said he was out there singing in this falsetto voice, and then here comes Justin. Like there was always competition on certain levels where they were like, okay, I see such and such went in and did this. We got to make an album better than that. People don't care about what the hottest album is right now. They care about how much money can I make off what I put out there. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care about being on the Billboard top 100 or top da-da-da-da. How many people stream my shit this week? Like
It's all about the numbers, right? It's not about the art anymore.
If you put the work in, the numbers are going to come.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to worry about numbers. If you put the work in and create a great product and put a great album out there, but it's just like you said, Ja. It used to be a time where you had to go into the boardroom and press play, and it was 20 niggas at the table, and they were like, "Nah, this ain't it."
Exactly.
And you get shelved.
Mm-hmm. And then
you
have so many songs
okay,
that's so trash. You know what? We done working on your stuff because
there is no more A&R, man. There's no more A&R. Period.
Exactly. Chuck.
Well, I ain't finna sit here and regurgitate everything you guys just said, but you know, one thing that I do notice that I don't know how many really good songwriters there are anymore. You look at some of the songs that I'm just talking from your hip hop writers, you know, your rappers who wrote their own music. The shit they was writing made sense, and it hits you in a way, and especially in R&B. Whoever was writing these songs, I'll let George and Kenny and V tell me who was writing these songs. But what they was writing was saying something. It was hitting a little different, and there was a special talent putting that on wax, you know, singing it, and there was somebody composing it, somebody producing it. Like the whole process, you know, there's not enough care into the process. You know, everybody's looking for the end of the journey, but nobody's enjoying the process. And I think we said that, we belabored that point. But you can tell. That's why we don't have as many great female artists, even though they're doing a lot better than male artists, you know. You know, here's some of these guys, you know, the Fayaz, the Bryson Tillers, the Giveons. Those guys are around. Tory before he started shooting people in the foot, you know, those type of things. You know, but it's just not what it used to be. We've lost the female groups. We've lost the male groups. There's a couple of female groups around, you know, but it's just not the same, you know. So, you know, I like to see people just love their craft more. That's all I'll ask.
But if you today told somebody, I'll cook your dinner too as soon as I get home from work, you're a simp.
Damn.
You're a simp in 2023. You're a simp. No. You was listen. See, this is the problem. He telling her how much he appreciates her. He didn't say every day. And this is what we lose context. So you gonna sit here and tell me that you didn't embellish shit trying to get a girl?
Oh no. Yeah. I do want to fight Tank's writers.
No, you don't. Tank is his own writer.
Oh, well, maybe I just want to fight him. I don't know if I can be running around telling people I deserve.
Maybe I deserve. Hold on.
But you jammed that song though. That song was jamming back in the day.
Here we go
again.
What was the premise of I Deserve?
You know what the premise was.
Men fuck up too.
Oh, I thought he was telling I deserve to be cheated on because I was a fuck up. I didn't catch that message. Maybe I missed that with G.
No, what I'm saying is Tank writes songs for women.
Yeah, he do.
Yeah, that's
he don't write songs for you.
Yeah.
He writes songs so that when you take your girl to the concert, the oven is preheated by the time you get home. That's Tank's responsibility. That's Kale's responsibility. That's the type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Kale's made a song when a woman's fed up. Kind of just like Tank's song. I mean, that you write songs.
But it hits different. I love it because it hits totally different.
It's Kale's too, though. It's a difference.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
But my point is, If you get Jimmy Jam, Babyface, L.A. Reid, Jonte, Jermaine Dupri, all these people, if you get them, they still write songs today. Just like Sean Gary just wrote "Glue" for Usher. That song sounds like it's a Prince song.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just heard that.
Usher's not straying away from that process of he don't give a shit what if it sounds like 95 or 2005 or 2015.
I like that song.
Love that song.
Yeah.
You have to still be unafraid to be able to say, this is what I am and who I am, and I don't give a shit what the times say. Because Kales didn't change his music. Kales still gave you that same feel. You knew what you were getting.
12 play all the way on, yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. One of the greatest albums. Oh,
and he's one of the greatest songwriters. He's one of the greatest songwriters of all time.
Yeah.
My bad, guys.
Yeah, you shouldn't go no more.
No, the songwriters are still out there. The songwriters are still out there. Are people willing to, first of all, pay the amount of money it takes for them to produce a song for them? Because a lot of these niggas who get budgets are real stingy. They don't want they want to pay minimum to get maximum because they want to keep maximum in their pocket. They don't understand that if I write you a great song and the song costs $40,000 for me to make, just for me to pen the song for you, and you don't feel like I should get $40,000, then I'm not budging on what I make. So you can go to somebody else. But I'm gonna tell you this: if I pen you a song and it costs you $40,000, I guarantee you that song's gonna be a hit. There's not too many people out there who we didn't name that don't make hits. Still today.
My three things will be, like I mentioned, I asked my own question. Like I said earlier, I would get the church back into it. I would the church to R&B pipeline, even with hip hop. I think, having some type of spirituality or a link to spirituality would be a good thing. I agree with you, George. I think to take the digital aspect out of it, in order to hit certain chords, as an artist, you have to feel it. And I think that it takes a lot of feeling out of the music. That energy of producing it is no longer there. And the last thing I think I would like, and I think this is more on hip hop, I would bring the regional sound back. I don't need a guy from Toronto giving me the Houston experience or the Atlanta experience. I would bring the regional sounds back to where.
Whoa!
You talking about Chuck, other boy.
We talking about Aubrey, man.
I'm just saying.
He's telling the truth though.
Well, he is telling the truth. Back in the day, everybody had their own. You had a West Coast sound, New York sound, Midwest, down south. Everybody had their own sound. Now everything sounds like everything.
I can't produce a song from St. Louis. Like I can't tell you how to do something off Labadee. I'm not from there. Like I can't tell you what Union Station and the Fudgery was about back in the day. I've only been there like twice. Like, I can't give you St. Louis like somebody from St. Louis can give you St. Louis. You understand what I'm saying?
But it's the truth. I mean, the regional sound is definitely gone. I mean, and that's also a big play on things as well. Everybody wants to go to sound the same.
Does anybody still have their sound? Does the South still have their sound?
The West Coast gonna always have their sound.
Yeah.
Think so?
It ain't gonna never phase. Down South gonna always have their sound.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Atlanta's gonna always have their sound. Detroit gonna always have their sound. St. Louis gonna always have their sound. The only question is, are you going to stay in that region and have because everybody wants to go to Atlanta, everybody wants to go to Miami, everybody wants to go to LA. It's something to be said. Like, okay, it's okay to have a vibe and say, okay, I'm gonna do my album out there. But take your crew with you. Don't have somebody from LA produce a St. Louis album. Now, I'll say this. When Nelly wanted to get on the radio and he wanted something to pop, he went and saw them Star Trek boys, which was fine because they got you on the radio. But Pharrell and Chad can't tell you shit about St. Louis.
Yeah, but Nelly didn't go to them until he wasn't needed. What was it? I Am Number One, right? Wasn't that the second album when Nelly really left his Midwest roots?
Hot in Here was a for real. Is a
That's what I'm saying. No, that was the second album.
What was the first album?
Country Grammar.
Country
Country
Grammar.
Grammar. That's
So
what I
what was
meant. Because I remember when me and Champ heard it, we was like, what the fuck is this?
With Country Grammar, it was produced by J.E. Epperson from out of St. Louis. So that had a reason.
St. Charles.
Well, said St. Charles.
St. Charles.
But still had the St. Louis sound.
So it's funny. He didn't know what album that was on, but he knew where the location this nigga was.
Right, he knew exactly where it was.
Yeah, well played, George.
Oh, well played, G. Right. He was waiting.
I'm just saying, man.
Being King Petty with it. Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
If you consider St. Charles, St. Louis, hey.
Nah, y'all don't. If somebody from St. Charles, I'm from the Louis, you be like, what school you went to? I went to Fort Zumwalt.
Hey, G. Hey, but G, what somebody tell you they was from Baden?
Hey.
They live in the county.
No, ain't no county. Baden is not.
Damn right, they live in the county.
Whatever.
Hey,
Y'all can say I hit on Baden all y'all want.
Hold on. V, is Baden the county?
Hell yeah, it's the county.
No, it ain't no
Damn
county.
right.
Baden is not the county.
When you
Ain't no
got
St. Louis County cops
when
going
you
to
got
Baden.
a sign that says Willkommen zu Baden.
We'll go.
That's because Baden used to be a German town back in the day. Now you can't see no German
never
ever.
the city of St. Louis. It was the
It
county.
still is. It still
the
is.
county.
St. Louis city cops go to my dad's house in Baden. Ain't no St. Louis County cops going to my dad's house.
I don't know.
Oh no.
Yeah, I went
You
there.
call 911.
I seen the Brownies
2 hours
out
later,
there.
St. Louis City coming. 2 hours later.
Hey, he get real amped about this too. Look
He
at
do.
Yeah, dude, that would make it so funny.
Trust me,
It's
Baden ain't the
look here.
county.
Baden is borderline Illinois. Borderline. What?
All right, let's go ahead and wrap this one up. We had a good conversation today talking about today's music. But sorry, Chuck, we had to go on your girl a little bit. That's your boo. You said she's 2 songs away.
2 songs away. I can't wait.
All right. Well, hope
I
those 2
never,
songs
I never
don't make
knock
it.
somebody's hustle, but
Hope those 2 songs
if I
don't never
was to
come.
knock a hustle,
It'll be this one.
it might be that one. Go ahead.
Right. All right, fellas. I want to thank y'all tonight for joining the F.T.C. podcast. Join us next time. Same time, same channel. Y'all
Hey, Josh. Hold on, Josh. 06.
Whatever. You see the
Peace
man
out.
right here. You see the man right here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to say it. You got to pull shit off the counters and shit. I ain't got to say it.
All right. We'll see. I'm gonna rap next time I have my shirt on. All right. Y'all have a good one, bro.
All right, brother.